You're listening to the Inside the Mix podcast with your host, Mark Matthews.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Inside the Mix podcast. If you are a new listener, don't forget to hit that follow button on your podcast player of choice. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe and the notification bell so you get notified anytime we go live, like we are now in this YouTube special, or there is a new video. And this is the Halloween edition of the Producer's Pub. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that I've got some sort of camo makeup on, but that is it was actually supposed to be like Frankenstein. I'll actually put it up to the camera here. I was supposed to be like this dude here, but I couldn't do the teeth because I've got a beard, and I just ended up, someone said, I like Arnie from Predator or Commando. So this episode, we've got R9, we've got Neon Highway, we've got Russell Nash, and we've got Sub Neon. We're supposed to have Pashang, but we think he's fallen asleep. He might join us halfway through, but we do have his music, so we'll play it at the end anyway. He actually sent me two. He sent me two tunes, and I could pick from one of them, and two songs, and I think he's fallen asleep. Anyway, this is the Halloween special. So going around the room, I know I cannot wait for Matt Sub Neon to talk because he is going to bless us with his vampire teeth, and I cannot wait for that to be recorded. And we got R9, we got Tim, we got some skeletons sat next to him, and then Halloween t-shirt on Carl, and then I think Russell's just sat in his front room. But it is the Halloween special. So I'm just going to go over to YouTube because this is live on YouTube, and just make sure it's working, and it is. We'll see if anybody dives in. But the first song is from Neon Highway. So what have we got coming up? Neon Highway.
It's a bit of just a bit of experimentation, messing around with some of the stuff in Logic, you know, the step sequencer, which I've never used before. I know you've used it in the past, Mark. So I started using that just to try and kickstart a bit of creativity because things were running a bit dry recently. So this is what I've kind of come up with in a very quick lunchtime. It was supposed to be for next month, but you've strong-armed me into appearing in this episode. So it's maybe not as developed as it should be, but I'll let you have a go.
Nice one, cheers, mate. And I appreciate that. I did strong arm you into it because I thought you were down for this episode. I basically told everyone you were going to be on it. So I strong armed you into it. And okay, so let's give this a go. Here we go. Cool, mate. What the step sequencer? Did you use the step sequencer for the kit? Is that right?
Yeah, just for the kit. It's that drum synth in Logic, so I haven't even selected drum sounds yet. That was just the kind of stock sounds, and I thought I just need something to kind of get me going here. You know, stick a beat down and just start playing over it, playing with the arps and things. So, but it kind of came out really well in terms of the beat that's there. As I said, I think I need to get in there and replace it with some proper kind of big meaty sounds.
Yeah, that's the way I do it as well. When I'm programming actual kit, I go in and I'll replace the sounds later. I think that's the best way to do it. Otherwise, you just get hung up on like the perfect sound, and then you might not even use it in the end. I reckon it should like kick up in tempo. I think maybe it might be too soon in the progression, but I can hear it going up in tempo, like you got that intro. And for whatever reason, I was like hearing drum and bass, but that might be because I was listening to some before the podcast episode, going into some drum and bass. But I'll pass it over to R9. What are your thoughts? And I'm just going to sort out some technical issues for Russell whilst Tim goes through this.
Russell with technical issues, whatever. Next, I thought it was really nice. I mean, I think you played me, actually. I know what came next. Like, you've got a little bit where it changes after that. And so, yeah, it's definitely the kind of like, it feels like it's a really good start and where is it going to go kind of thing. Because, you know, I think as well, it just needs sort of a little bit of, I think it just feels like it's a bit tentative at the moment. It's just unsure of itself. Do you know what I mean? But I think
100%.
it's really good. All the stuff in it really works well. I love the sound of that top synth. I think that's just a gorgeous sound. And I think it works really well with the bass as well. That bass works well with that top synth. So I think all the ingredients of it are really nice. So I in general, I think like all the sound choices are really working together well. So I sort of feel like, I'm sure it will just progress. But like, I don't do drum and bass. No one likes coffee table drum and bass. Don't do that. No, drum and bass, like, I know what you mean. It feels like some energy or some speed or something needs to sort of,
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of, was like some energy. But I think you could probably do that with just mixing up the kit, or like a different even just like a different hi-hat or something like that. But
I mean, I think it's more of an intro, really. I think it's very difficult to select your 30 seconds that you're going to play on.
100%,
I kind of cut out the first 4 bars. I was like, I'll cut them out because they're just repeating. It gives us a bit more at the end, so it is difficult. But I think what was good fun about this one was it was just like starting, blank canvas, and I actually started laying down the beats first, and I had a lot of kind of sort of side stick in there and triangles and things, and I didn't take them out as such. I just took the MIDI and transposed it down into some kind of synth part, and then applied an LFO on it, and that's where you've got all that kind of background stuff that's kind of shifting around. It's really actually started off as a percussive kind of section, but it's now been moved into the synth instead. One of those happy accidents. You're just like, I don't like it in percussion, just drag it down on the track there, and suddenly it becomes this really cool synth sound.
I think that's a really interesting thing to do as well. Sometimes when you do that, like you kind of come up with something and it's not working as a melodic part, but then you sort of take it down when it works as a percussion, and vice versa. Like, you take something down that you've kind of come up with a percussion, it's a rhythmic part, but like then you put it on a different type of sound, like a synth sound, and suddenly,
definitely,
it's really works. So I'm a fan of like trying that, like, because MIDI's great like that. You can just move it around and mess with it so easily, and just shove other sounds on it, and you never know. But like, I feel like what you've got at the moment is a real solid sounding track, and could hear some glass guitar on it, but I don't know anyone who plays that.
Oof.
Interesting, because I was thinking, I wonder if I could get Johnny on this one. Because I keep talking Johnny to him, and he's like, when are we going to do something? I'm like, I just need to write something that's worthy of it, mate.
Yeah,
your guitar's that good,
on it, actually. Yeah, I could hear it.
Yeah. I think at the moment where the kind of electric piano is, I think that gets ripped out and replaced by guitar. But yeah, it's good feedback though. It needs a bit of energy, needs a bit of guitar. Just what I had in my mind anyway. So no big surprises, just affirmation that we're moving in the right direction there.
God, are you going to do anything similar to what the song you sort of came back with, the one are you going to sort of do more in that direction as well? Because that was ace, man. That tune that you.
I don't know, to be honest. I think Synth Principal asked this question the other day out to the kind of community. What do you intend to do when you start a track? And I never really have any intention. I think you see it in all the releases I've got. It's sort of different sounds each time. So I don't know.
That's fair.
That one just worked out nicely. I had a lot of the stuff sort of laid down prior to taking a hiatus, and then when I came back, I was like, I've got this track. I was like, boom, finish it off on a lunchtime. There we go, fire it out. It just seemed to work, and the reception's been really good on it. So appreciate all the love that people have been giving it.
Mate. Yeah. Go around the room. I can't wait for this. Sub Neon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've been really, really looking forward to talking with these fucking teeth in. I kind of agree with what Tim was saying. I'm taking them out. I can't be asked. I'm sorry. I'm doing my head in. I can't talk properly. I really like the progression thus far, but I really feel like that there is like a really hard slapping drum beat that comes in there. 4 to the floor would be a waste. I think, something. Have you ever heard of a band called Hybrid?
Yes. Yeah.
I absolutely fucking love Hybrid, and they get someone that it's not quite drum and bass, but there is a real weight to their drums, and I think the contrast between the the kind of the lightness of what you've created so far with some quite impactful drums would really work well.
It's a good
So
shout.
I'm just going to throw it out there, but I think that you got something that could really slap.
Cool.
But the progression you've made so far, I really like. Really like. You blended the sounds really well, and the step sequencer that you've used, it sounds great. So yeah, I don't have the benefit of what Tim has heard, what comes afterwards. I'm just like, it's gonna kick in right. Go! Oh, it stopped. So
yeah, that's a good show. I kind of need this feedback because I've been sitting there with it for a couple of weeks now and being like, I just don't know what to do next. Where do we go? But I think that kind of contrast is a good way of doing it, like getting that real kind of big pounding kind of kit in there because something that's kind of slamming. So yeah.
Lovely. Sorry, I was just reading the chat. Russell, have you had a chance to have a listen?
Yes. Sorry, just unmute myself. Yeah, I had a listen. I liked it, man. I liked the chords and I liked like the little kind of melodies. The only thing that kind of jumped out to me is I don't know. I was hearing completely different kind of percussion for it. More kind of I guess more kind of fiddly and dynamic kind of percussion, kind of like building it up. I thought like the kind of percussion that you had in there, it's fine. It sounds absolutely fine, but yeah, I think if you added in some like cool little kind of hat triplets and stuff like that, like to like the kind of build, then I think that would sound really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a good shout, man. It's a good shout, and it fits in with that kind of theme of sort of playing around and experimenting on this one as well. So appreciate that.
Yeah, but other than that, no, I thought it was cool. I liked it.
Thank you.
Ace, thank you, Neon Highway. So before we move on to Matt, I'm just going to go over to YouTube. So just want to say hello to Robin Lights and Heartbeat Hero as well. The legend himself. He did ask what the Halloween themes were, and he has picked out that obviously we had Matt with his teeth, thumbnail, but he's taken them out. We've got a Halloween themed T-shirt. We've got the skeleton next to Tim. I've gone for a Frankenstein / Commando look, and Russell's in his front room. So those are the Halloween themes we have so far. But the views are up to 7
harder at the moment, so you know.
So let's go with some Neon. What have we got coming up?
Well, I just wanted to point out I put guy liner on for the first time in my life as well, which is embarrassing enough. But there you go. Look at that.
That's dedication. I appreciate
maybe it just looks like I'm fucking knackered or something. But because this is a Halloween special, I decided to put something together specifically for this show, and I didn't want to be as derivative as doing like the Halloween theme tune or something like that. But I really love the movie Blade, which came out in the 90s, and I think they're actually remaking it. And there is this iconic scene. It's called the theme from Blade, where in the intro to the movie, this guy gets taken to a nightclub by this woman, and unbeknownst to him, it is a vampire nightclub. And during the course of the events, they walk through the club, and then there's this banging sort of typical 90s acid squelchy kind of tune that became quite iconic at the time. And as the scene progresses, blood starts to rain from the ceiling, and then all the humans in there get turned into dinner. So I thought, wouldn't it be an interesting idea to just update that a little bit? It's not techno at all. It's got no chord progression that sounds anything like the original. So it's an absolute reimagining. And so and if they were remaking the movie, I would imagine that watching on YouTube right now there are probably less than one Marvel showrunners that are going to be looking at listening to this track. But yeah, I thought I'd give it a bit of a go as to what I would like if I was hired to become the composer for that movie. What kind of vibe would I want to go for that particular scene? So I've kind of gone kind of half aggressive, half a bit sexy, and that's what I've tried to come up with anyway. So I've kind of smushed half the track together into 48 seconds, and yeah, see what you think.
Ace, thanks, buddy. Thanks for the description as well. Like, that scene, I remember watching that with my mates, and the song, I can hear it in my head. I cannot remember what it's called, but I can hear the synth, and I can hear the melody in my head. I'm gonna have to. I wish I could remember what it is. If anybody watching on YouTube can remember the name of the track, please do put it in the chat. Unless someone knows, I can't remember what it's called.
It's actually called The Theme from Blade, and it's by a guy called Dan Zamani. So
it's actually just called the theme from Blade. Maybe I'm thinking of a different song. I won't dwell on it too much now. It's one of those ones where I'll have a listen after the
years to come up with that title.
yeah.
I wonder what I'll call this theme for Blade. I know.
Right, let's play it. Here we go. Oh, you hero. And you put a fade at the end. You legend. Thank you very much.
I always do.
I know.
Always
That's
do.
so,
Just for
so,
you, Mark.
So kind of you to do that, because I always have to add fades. I love that. You know what I can hear in that? And this is because I do this a lot of my own music. I like to add like atonal sounds and just random sound effects and stuff in there. But when it breaks out, because you're doing it you're scoring for a scene, you kind of want some sort of like vocal, not singing, but like spoken word in there. I don't know what it could be, like a really low register voice, maybe with some sort of like time-based processing on it, some modulation, and then for it to kick back in. That's what I would want to hear, like on that, just some random, I'm sure, that sort of low shit like that. You're very good at doing this because I've heard you do it. So something along those lines. That's what I would want to hear, because you're scoring for a scene as well. I think that'd be really cool. But I'll pass it around. I see. We'll go with Russell because he's added a hat and some sunglasses to his attire. So what are your thoughts, Russell?
Yeah, I just found these lying about. So this can do is a makeshift Blues Brothers costume. No, I really liked it. I really like Matt's kind of style. I would probably give some similar feedback to I gave Carl. I'm all about the hats today. I would love to hear you do some kind of more kind of interesting stuff with the hi-hats in the track. Just some open kind of hi-hat kind of fills and things, and I fucking love it. Like, see, when you've got that kind of beat that you've got, where maybe on alternate like hi-hats you have like the open hi-hat going into like the snare on the 4. Like, I think that would sound really cool. I also thought it would be kind of cool to maybe get some pitch bends in there as well. Maybe like pitch bend in the chords, it's like some point in the tune, or like maybe just having like a big kind of droning kind of lead that's got like a pitch bend. Like, I thought that would be cool, but I really liked it. I thought it was good.
Nice, thanks, man. Do you know what hi-hats is an area of my kit, and hearing you guys talking earlier about designing your drum kit, I have my drum kit, and I've been iterating it over every single release that I've put out, and I'm buggered if I'm changing it. But actually, the last couple of tracks I've released, I've started to mess around with the hi-hats, and I think you're absolutely right. All I've got is an offbeat hi-hat just going all the way through, and I need to do something a bit more interesting with it. So if you've got any decent samples that you want to chuck my way that's going to help me do that, then that would be awesome. But but yeah, I totally agree.
Excellent
Love to
stuff. Let's go round to Neon Highway. Carl.
Yeah, man, it was amazing. Like when that first bass comes in, that hooks you in straight away. I think it doesn't matter what else is going on in the rest of that track. That bass could just keep playing, but you build upon it, and you've got that kind of second bass, that really big one, that doom doom. That line there is amazing, and I don't really have any specific feedback to go. You can make it better by doing what, but I think I'm hearing it in my head. The next section, or at least some point in the song, has a kind of rising moment above the chords that you're in, and then drops right back down to that bass again. But it's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's, as Russell Nash says, some hi-hat playing around with open hi-hats and things like that would be amazing. What was the other thing? The chords, interestingly, what Russell Nash was saying about the chords being pitch bend. I never thought of that, but I can hear kind of Lost Boys, Cry Little Sister pitch bend chords in there occasionally, which would work absolutely amazing. And I loved some of the kind of signature sounds that you've got as well there, Matt. You can hear little bits from previous pieces like Yokai that you'd released. You can hear some of those sounds creeping in there, and it's just beautiful. It kind of ties your whole narrative together as an artist. So, yeah, good stuff, mate.
Oh, thanks, man. Do you know what I thought about the pitch bends? And interestingly, I didn't want it to sound like Gerard, whatever his name is. I didn't want it to sound like Cry Little Sister. But I'll try it and see how it comes out for sure. But it's
a solid start, though, man. It's great.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
And we'll now move over to Watch It and Aisle 9 and Friend.
Yeah, I mean,
and Friend.
Yeah, and Friend. Yeah, Slim was a bit quiet on that one, but no, I honestly think it's just straight away. It just transported me. I think that's the great thing with a lot of your tracks. They just have that ability. You stop going, what does this need? What? In fact, I just lose track of time because I'm just listening to the music and getting carried by the music. And I think that's just, that's, if you can bottle that is a wonderful thing to have in your music, that it carries people away and that it transports them. And I thought it had that to it. I think if there was anything I was going to sort of add or change or whatever, or play around with, try on it, maybe like, I don't know. Do you remember? It's a really old Duran Duran song they did for For You to a Kill. I think it is something like that. And they've got these kind of typical sort of 80s-y kind of orchestral hits and that kind of stuff going on in it. And I suddenly thought in films and stuff, obviously that kind of orchestral hits and the kind of filmic kind of sort of, kind of sort of things, a big sort of, sort of impact sounds, And some little sort of part of me was wondering what, either weird metallic percussion or impact sounds or something that's quite filmic, in there could be, and not lots of it, but just moments, maybe something like that could be interesting to sort of, give it, I suppose, as a percussive element, but as a sort of as if it was as if you were scoring it for a film, perhaps. But, it's just a thought.
That
just
sounds
have the
like a
sound
great
of
idea. I mean, to
people
be honest,
hurting
it's
Simon Le Bon. I mean, that would sell. Simon Le Bon
I
in
don't
a
know if you guys are
liquidizer.
the same. Wow, that took a turn.
Right? That was Slim's idea. Sorry, he just whispered it to him.
It was one of those tracks because I actually started on Monday of this week, and we're obviously filming this on a Sunday. I don't know about you guys. I've got 10 tracks that are between 50 and 90% complete, and every so often I get a track that just carries all the way through to the end. And this afternoon I took it to the 3.5 minute mark. And so the basic structure is there, but definitely there's those little intricacies that I want to try and weave in there as well. So yeah. My sample library is quite light though, so I'm gonna have a bit of a dig around to see.
Well, if you need sounds, let me know.
I can dig out. But if you've got any of those orchestral hits that you've just referred to, Tim, then fire them over, and I will happily weave them in.
Yeah, I love some of those like sounds like you used to get from the radiophonic workshops, like BBC sort of thing, where they'd sort of do like, it was all Foley stuff. So they do like sort of, someone having their head chopped off, and it would literally be a cabbage that they were just like chopping with a mic or, sort of. And I love that kind of stuff, like ways of. So maybe actually you don't need that. You need to just go and record you sort of smacking things with a pan in the kitchen or something. Yeah. Oh well, just an idea.
I could be down with.
Yeah.
That's really good fun.
I'll link you later on. There's actually a free program I came across recently. That's it's like samples like taken from like an old high end like 80s synth of just orchestral hits, and it's free. So like I'll send you a link to that later.
Thanks, man. Oh, that'd be awesome.
It's interesting with him saying about, those types of sounds, like just smashing things and recording it, because when the track started, I immediately had Nine Inch Nails vibes in my head. Not so much Nine Inch Nails, but that late 80s industrial, where it was proper industrial. They were, like Depeche Mode hitting pipes and things like that.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Test department, yeah. Any of that kind of sort of down-tuned sort of like, or... slowed down sometimes as well. Like that can be interesting, or sped up. Like just mank around with sounds, or put them on. I don't know what the sampler's like in your DAW, but like sometimes just like you get the sound, you just drop it on the sampler track and just have it so that you can hit different keys. And sometimes was that mine? What are you up to, mate?
Guns N' Roses did a bit of that.
Yeah, that could be really good. That's just the plot.
Like on Rocket Queen, Axel smashed Steven Adler's girlfriend on the track.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
It's a great song, that, by the way. It's a very good
It really
song.
is, actually. Yeah, it's underrated. I just had a message from Pashang, actually. He just woke up and he slept through his alarm, and he will be here momentarily. I think he's trying to get in.
I will try and enter him at the end. I just I don't want to alter the podcast mid-flow, and he's technically late. So let's move on now. But thank you, everyone. Let's move on to R9. What have we got coming up, Tim?
Well, this is a track. I'm not responsible for the music. Chris Keir and I, you may remember, did a release together called Dying Sun, and Chris kindly sort of said to me, would you like to do another one, which surprised me. He wanted me back. It went really well. We really enjoyed working together doing Dying Sun, and he wrote the track for this and just sent it over to me, and so I was responsible for coming up with some vocals and lyrics for this, and sort of I kind of rearranged the track a little bit, like sort of in terms of structure, just to sort of, and this is our kind of monitor mix. So I've sent it all over to Chris, who's about to actually do a mix of this. But yeah, it's a song called Future No More, or No Future No More, I think it might be called. It's I don't know how I quite got onto it, like the subject matter for the song, but I think it was like almost like a sort of tale of like people sort of, it's escapism really, but like thinking about back to sort of, they've got a dream of what it was like back in the day, before they were the age they are now, and, before they couldn't do the things they could do back then. And it was, so I guess it's memories of like a past that, and then sort of almost living your life in that escapism, living your life in that imaginary sort of thing. But like, it's nostalgic, I suppose, but with a slight sort of dark tinge, of course, But there we go. It's a very sweet sounding song, though. So, that's just a little kind of, just a beautiful. I loved the beat when he sent it to me. It was just really, really nice. The track. It's just got a lovely sort of mellow vibe. So I kind of went with that with my vocal, I think. So, there we
Lovely.
go.
Let's give it a go. Thank you, Tim. I'm looking forward to hearing this, and because I really enjoyed the collab you did before. So let's give it a go.
In a different place, another time. I look so young, you look so fine. We were living free and running high. Soft motel lips, blue Monday sky. Those nights of passion, days of peace. Our music blasting on the beach. We were driving to our favorite show as the DJ spins. Who wants to live forever? I'll drive you home. These streets, they leave you cold. Far from the light in our dreams we can run. Angels in darkness, now we become one. Far from the light in our dreams we can soar. Past is behind us, the future no more. The future no more.
Go.
I played it on a bit though because I wanted to hear the end of the chorus, but I really like that, mate. That opening synth you got is really, really nice, and I really like the subtle sort of arp you've got in the background of the chorus, and I like using those in my own productions. They're not muted, but they kind of almost sound muted synth sort of arps going on, and the percussion you've got really reminds me, and I cannot think of the artist from the 80s, and I'm thinking of a song. And I think it was one of the percussion element of it reminds me of a song from Karate Kid, and I cannot remember which tune it is. Obviously, the song is totally different, but it's just that percussive element, and I love that particular style of percussion you got going on there. I think that sounds ace, mate. Well, unfortunately, with Riverside, it plays everything back. I'm fairly certain it plays it back in mono, so you don't get that wide spread that you would hear. So I cannot wait to hear it in the actual stereo spread that it should be.
Got quite a nice spread to it, yeah. And I mean, again, so it's Chris's entirely sort of produced all the track, and I think he's done a great job on that. And I'm really excited because I've sent him the vocals, and he's going to work on the vocals, and then get the finished track from him. But I mean, he's done some fantastic stuff before, so I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love that percussion. I cannot remember what the actual percussive instrument is that's playing at that particular point, but it's like in the chorus. But it's got that really nice 80s, like almost like soundtrack vibe to it with that percussion. It's really, really cool. I think it sounds really nice, mate. Is there going to be a guitar solo in this at all?
I don't know. Do you know? I think it could take one, couldn't it? But we hadn't discussed
I'm thinking. Very emotive, a nice emotive guitar solo.
I don't know any good guitarists.
Build up into something.
Do that again. What was that?
I could do it. I could just pretend to be a guitar, mate. I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Wow.
yes, I will pass it around the room. Let's go with. I'll go around the houses here. Neon Highway.
The only one thing I would say is I loved the bit in the chorus where the synths are like subtly mirroring the vocal line. It's just, I think sometimes you can get too cluttered on a track with things working in unison, but you've got that stereo width, that space. I presume once it's all put together, but with the vocal and that synth mirroring it just worked beautifully, man. That was a standout part for me. I could just listen to that track over and over just to hear that one bit.
Oh.
Smooth. It's very smooth. Nice. I liked it.
Yeah.
Sub Neon, Matt.
It's the signal's breaking up for me a little bit. I really liked it. I think it's got a really nice vibe to it. I kind of want to hear a little bit more processing on the vocals though. Yeah. I don't know whether there's a little bit of reverb, a little bit of a delay, a bit more compression perhaps. But as it stands, I mean, the melody is really solid. So
yeah, I mean the vocals will be
I'm-
processed. So yeah, they're very raw at the moment because this is basically I've just had the stereo track, and I've just recorded pretty much. I mean, there is a little bit of monitor reverb on them, but that's it really. So yeah, I think Chris. I mean, thinking what he did on Dying Sun, I should think he will do quite a bit of processing on the vocals. You know, I mean, anything you can do to hide my vocal is always gratefully received. So.
See, you say that, but every single vocal track that you've released has been a banger. So I don't know why you say that, because you know there are some terrible vocalists out there that have made, you know, the top 10 in whatever chart, you know. So it's about what you do with it, and I think it sounds great. So
thank you, mate. Yeah,
stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, it's definitely not the thing I'm most confident in myself. So you know, so I think, you know, I think it's quite natural to be a little bit self-conscious about your vocal. But like, yeah, no, thank you. That's cool.
Cool, thanks, guys. And Russell Nash, what are your thoughts, buddy?
I'll mute myself. No, I really liked it. I mean, I'm kind of struggling to pick out anything, you know, in particular that I would critique. I think the only thing that I would maybe suggest, and like, you know, again, it's not really a critique, to be honest. It's just something that I might try, is like maybe like a little bit of question and answer. You know, like maybe have a section like later on where you're singing like the vocal melody, and then you've got like a kind of counter melody, like maybe coming back from one of the synths or a guitar or something like that. I think that would sound quite cool. But other than that, I've got nothing. I'm liking it. It's kind of, I agree with I agree with Mark that it's got like a very kind of cinematic vibe. Like when I'm listening to it, I'm kind of picturing myself like kind of driving about in an open top convertible, and I've just been dumped by Michelle Pfeiffer, and I'm kind of contemplating my life.
Yeah. Oh, Michelle.
I'm sure she's not busy at the moment. Just
She's
She was
certainly
a let down, really.
sat right next to you, right there. That's what she's been busy. She hasn't been about in a while.
God.
yeah, she's been in watch it too long.
Should have fed her more, really. Yeah, never mind.
But no, I liked it, man. I liked it.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Ace.
Did the lyrical
thank you,
content
everyone.
come over? Just a quick question. It's like, you know, so the vibe comes over in the lyrics, because that's always important to me. So
Yeah. I noticed that towards the end of the chorus. I was very aware of it, and I'm not a lyrics guy. I never listen to lyrics, so I could listen to all my favourite artists and not know what they've been singing, but I really latched on to those ones. Thought were really good.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll be brutally honest. I've got the memory of a goldfish. I've already forgotten the lyrics, but
Okay.
I'll go back and listen again later, and I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to say I'm the same with that. I always listen to the instrumental, and then it's sort of like then on the second or even probably the third pass is when I'll hear the melody of the vocal, but the actual lyrics themselves, it's usually the second or third pass. But no, excellent stuff. Let's go with so I'm going to admit Pashang just before we play his track, just to continue the flow. So yeah, he is late as well, so it's slight punishment. Russell, what have we got coming up?
All right, okay, I'll be doing mine now. Yeah, my track is a kind of Halloweeny track. I thought that we were all putting in Halloween tracks, but yeah, it's called Graveyard Shift. It's not quite finished. It's like kind of most of the way there. Like, but I've got most of the kind of vibe kind of sketched out. Like I came up with the idea to do like a little demo for Oblivion Sound Labs. Who've just come out with like a new Halloween kind of sound pack called Dark Vision 2. There you go, a little fucking plug there for you, Jonathan. So yeah, I made the demo for that, and then I'm gonna develop it into like a full track to release for Halloween. So a little bit of inspiration from Thriller from Michael Jackson, and a little bit of kind of inspiration from kind of cheesy old kind of slasher B movies.
Fantastic, mate. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I love the title, Graveyard Shift. Love it. Let's do this.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like, can you start it from a minute in?
Cool, mate. Yeah, I started for about 55 seconds, approximately a minute in. I can
Perfect.
definitely hear the dark sort of soundtrack to that. That sort of girthy, gnarly bass you've got going on there. I think that could I think that needs to be filled out a bit more, like a. It just needs to sound, whether or not it needs a bit more sub bass or something in there, just to fill that. Once again, we are at the limitations of Riverside, so it could well be there. It just might be because of the platform we're not hearing it. But after I think it's like a chorus section. I think it should you could break and then have this sounds really cliched, but like a scream or something, and then for it to kick in rather than go straight into the instrumental afterwards. Like something like that might be quite cool. Those are my initial thoughts, but I can definitely hear I love the fact that you've got for the Halloween vibe as well, man. It's fitting for the episode too. Before we move on to other thoughts, I'm just going to go over to YouTube. Because we've got Vic West. So I just want to say shout out to Vic West. And Pashang is in the chat on YouTube as well. So he has joined. He's in the chat at the moment. He's waiting to come in. So I just wanted to... he said that his alarm didn't go off. And he says, turns out taking heavy-duty sleeping meds and taking a nap before 3 a.m. start isn't bad. Yeah, fantastic. So let's go around. Let's go around. Carl, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, it's classic Nash. It's just got that sound. Your head starts bopping to it. But it has that kind of Danny Elfman gothic horror Halloween vibe. Absolutely nailed, man. It's incredible. I really like that deep bass, that kind of filter sweet bass, and I love the evolution of it. Towards the end, where you kind of pushed it into the offbeat. Really sort of kept the groove going, man. It was brilliant. I honestly don't know what I would add to it. Because it just sounded fantastic as it is, mate. You're nailing it.
Thanks, man.
Just before we go around to the chat, I think there's a dog barking somewhere. I can hear.
I'll mute mine.
I don't know.
It'll be mine.
Is it? Sorry, that's all right. Cheers, Carl. Thanks, mate. Matt, something else.
It was the Hounds of Hell.
The Hounds of Hell.
Yeah, very apt.
Hounds of the Baskervilles.
I mean, you know what I like about music these days? It's how hard can you make that bass hit and everything. And again, the Riverside comments may well stand true. I reckon that filter sweet bass could really punch through. But otherwise, I mean, I think the melody that you've got going over the top of it, I think it works really, really well. So this is a long way of saying I wouldn't change anything other than just tweak that bass to make it really just hit, But I think it's really solid, really, really solid. Really like it.
No, thanks a lot, man. I'll get a look at that.
Ace. Before we go to R9, I just want to say Synth Principal has joined. He says he can totally hear a scream working in that track. And Vic West says it's okay, you're at a pub now and can drink it off. He also said he's the designated driver as well, which is, and Pashang says same. I love the fact Pashang's commented in the chat. Tim, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I definitely get the Halloween vibes. Obviously, it's really strong there. I think it's always difficult when you've got that kind of slightly discordant thing going on with the bass, like next to things, and and that sound and everything. It's sort of partly you want that, you don't want to change it because that's partly the kind of essence of the song. I think sometimes I sort of get that kind of computer gamey vibe from the sound, the overall sound on that track, and that could be entirely intentional. And if it is, then you're hitting it spot on, and don't change a thing. If sometimes I sort of wonder, a bigger soundscape to these things, to make them, the drums and the bass and everything sort of sound less like that, I guess. But then I think that would be out of your style. So I'm not sure that what I'm thinking about is the right thing for you, because you've got a particular sort of style that works in that kind of, do you know what I mean? In that kind of direction. So, I think maybe sort of, but then you've got other things. You've got TV things like Miami Vice and all kinds of different like things that I can think of that you've got like sounds like, your sort of stuff with Jan. Is it Jan Hammer or the other guy, isn't it? Harold Faltermeyer and stuff like that. You've got all kinds of references in your music that come from those kind of movies and things like that. But yeah, I guess I wondered if like it's too sort of computer gamey, and I would try and make it a little bit more, sort of filmic or TV like, maybe for me, just personally, I think I would, and that would be just some changes in the production and the style. But like overall, I really like the melody. I really like I think you're right, if you can make it hit home a bit more, but like it is good. Yeah, it's a really good track, and it's definitely got that Halloween vibe entirely. So, yeah, it's just a matter of style, I guess, and what you like, but it's got energy as well. It's all, I think all of your tracks have got energy, and that one's definitely got that going on. So it's nice. I like it. Yeah. Thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
Slim
like,
likes it
no, I've had the kind of the video gamey comment on a few of my tracks. It's not something that I do intentionally, but it probably just kind of seeps in from like all the old, Mega Drive and Super Nintendo games I used to play as a kid.
Yeah.
It's probably just something that slips into my music kind of subconsciously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not intentional on this track, but I think with this one, it's kind of, I was probably just kind of shooting for more kind of something fun rather than cinematic. So like, I probably wouldn't go in that kind of direction with this particular track. But I know that my evil alter ego is working on a Halloween track, and I think that perhaps his might be a bit more cinematic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Again,
I think
sorry. Cool.
I was just going to say, I think when it comes to the mixing stage, it's going to be crucial because there's a lot going on towards the end there. So it's just not getting caught up, that everything starts clashing with one another. But I mean, your mixes are typically very clear anyway, man. You do that instrument separation really well. It's just something to bear in mind when you get to mixing that, when there is quite a lot going on, which I think, is right for the track. There's a lot of fun stuff, all those kind of great Halloween sounds, but when you get to mixing it, just bear that in mind, I think.
Cool. No, that's cool, man.
Ace gents. Cool, so here we go. The time is upon us. So the chat on YouTube is the busiest it's ever been, and so I got a shout out to everyone from the Synth Fam chat who's joined on here. So Ran is involved in here now. OLD Old is involved, and we've got a few others as well. So a big shout out to you all here. So what we're going to do now is this. We've got the final episode. So I'm going to admit Pashang now, and he is now going to dive straight in and talk about his track. So let's give this a go. And so I've never admitted someone mid-episode. So where is he? There he is. I'm going to let him in. And here he is. Yes, exactly. Pashang, welcome. Better late than never, buddy.
Have we got you?
Can you hear us? Are you there?
No, we can't hear you.
Now you can see why I don't let people in midway through an episode.
He's still off his tits and fucking sleeping drugs.
Select the right microphone, dude.
Yeah, okay. Whilst he's trying to sort this out, we'll play his song because I don't want too much dead air. So we'll play his song and hopefully he can sort it out in the meantime. Here we go. So this is Pashang, and then he can talk about it afterwards. And then we can talk about it. And he might not be able to, but we can talk about it. Ace. Before I dive in with any comments, Pashang, are you able to talk? Can you say something? Are you there? No, you're not. All right. Well, I'll dive straight in. Once again, you can see why I don't admit people halfway through. I thought that's a really nice bass sound he's got going on there. That's very full and very round. Very, very nice bass sound. I'm assuming you can hear me. We just can't hear you. So that sounds really nice. And I like the drum fill you got going on there. My only comment would be about the drum fill. I think it just needs to be a bit more... tailored's the wrong word. It sounds maybe a bit too sporadic in what's going on, but I really like the full bass sort of sound you got going on in there. Really, really nice track, man. And I can say it's kind of Halloween themed as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming you still can't hear me, so I'm going to go around and we'll start with Tim. R9, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if someone's cut his tongue out. Maybe that's the reason. Oh no, he's gone. He's gone. Oh, just as I start
He's gone. Maybe he'll come back.
Yeah. No, I just wondered if it was
that
a
elusive.
Korean custom at this time of year or something. He had his tongue removed, but no, he's okay. Yeah, no, I'm only joking. So yeah, I really like the song. Dark and it's full on sort of what I'd expect from Pashang. Actually, it really is. It's good, and very Halloween. Drumming is excellent. There's lots of you're back. Cool fills and stuff. I really like it. I think it's really hard to judge on here, but there's just something about the drum sounds that, if I was being super critical, they feel like I know that they're programmed, and I sort of don't want to know that. I kind of want them to be entirely believable, like they're a drummer, I think, in terms of sound. And that is hard. I know it's hard, especially when you've got busy tracks and stuff, to manage to get that out. But don't get me wrong, I really like what's going on with the drums. That's good. But maybe that sporadic thing is right. Maybe they just need to sort of feel like they're sort of part of the track a bit more. But but I love the energy. I love the darkness in it. And I've recently become a convert to what you can do with all of that. I love the last track that you did on the synth wave fam compilation. Anybody? Yeah. If you haven't listened to it and gone and downloaded it, or just go onto our Bandcamp or whatever and go and download it. Fantastic, all for charity. But Pashang's got a great ending track on there, which I really think Pashang and Ran really sums up that kind of sound, which is not my normal sound, that dark sort of synth sound, but I really like it. It's kind of really sort of, and I think this could sort of, it's got that intensity. Intensity would be my word for this track, really. It's good.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tim. And here we go, folks. Here we go. Hold on. I've got a drum roll here before Pashang actually talks. So here we go. So after the drum roll, Pashang, you're going to introduce the song retrospectively. Here we go.
And he's on mute. He's on mute on his mic.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, unmute yourself.
This is going well.
Oh, I ruined my special entrance. I had everything ready to go, and I clicked the mute button. Oh, this is why I shouldn't join podcasts at 3 a.m. I'm so sorry, guys. This song is called Myers, and I'm sure you can guess where the name comes from. I cut the demo off right before Rand's epic guitar solo.
Didn't you do that last time as well? I'm fairly certain you did that last time you were on. You cut it off before the guitar solo.
Yes, because I know that the guitar solo is perfect. I don't need critique on that part because Rand never misses. And I got to have something to keep you guys, in the loop and excited. But the actual
I need
drums...
cocktease a bit.
What?
You need to cocktease a bit, yeah.
Oh, I thought I said... It's hard to hear in this mask. I'm sorry. I would say that Isle9's comment on the drums is pretty much exactly what I was looking for in terms of critique, because I really like combining classic sampled kicks and snares with a full kit these days. It's something I've been working on a lot this whole year and trying to get it right. But for whatever reason this time, I can't quite get it to work. And I totally agree with his comment that the kit drums sound very removed from the rest of the track. So I'm actually curious, how would you guys go about fixing that?
I think personally for me, I'm the same as you, Pashang. I recently started messing about with the kit and things like that, trying to give it a bit more of a human feel than programmed. And I think what you could do is sort of look meticulously, if you wanted, at the velocities of the individual sort of things that you're hitting. Bump the velocity up on some of the notes that you want it to hit where it should be hit, and drop it down a lot, just to give it that dynamic. Maybe I'm assuming it's in the grid, you've quantized it, introduce a bit of swing on the quantize so that it's not so rigid and robotic. But I think what Mark and Tim have said, the drums are the bits in this track that are probably standing out for the wrong reasons. And I think once you fix that, it'll be an excellent track. Sounds like you've been hanging out with Vic Kruger, to be fair. It's intensely evil, and I love it.
What VST were you using, Pashang, on the drums, out of interest?
So I use Easy Drummer 3, which is an amazing plugin. And I discovered recently that they actually have drag and drop MIDI files, which is like a main theme of the thing. But I feel like I'm cheating using them, so I always program it in myself. And Volker X just released his new album, The Loop, and I was talking to him about his drums, and it turns out he programmed every single bit himself with his mouse, and it sounds incredibly good. So I was kind of going for that vibe, but I clearly am not a drummer because I totally messed it up.
I think as well, like sound-wise, sometimes when I find like mixing sort of, because I've done a lot of mixing for like programmed drums to make them sound like real drums, and part of it is the playing, obviously, and the programming itself, definitely, but I think it's sound-wise, sometimes it's like getting the balance between the room mics, the overhead mics, and the close mics, because like, it's that telltale thing when like a cymbal sounds close mic'd or something like that, rather than it being in the overheads. Or in fact, room mics can be a big thing in metal, particularly. Like they're a really golden thing that you have to get right when you're doing metal drum production and recording them and getting them to sound right. So yeah, I'm kind of a big fan of room mics, and then compressing the hell out of them and sort of putting them on a separate channel and putting a parallel bus like compressor on, sort of thing, on like room mics and stuff like that. I could go into it at detail. That's just one of the weirdest drinking experiences I've seen. Yeah, feeding through a straw. Yeah,
very
excellent.
much so.
There we go.
Matt, Sub Neon, thoughts, please.
I mean, I don't have too much to add from what the other guys have said. To be honest, I mean, I think the progression up until that point is kick-ass. My drums, I've spent a lot of time trying to make them sound as natural as possible. The thing that made it really work was like a brute force compression from glue to really make them stick together. And again, like Carl was saying, getting the velocity right on those different elements is absolutely critical. Otherwise you've got a crash or a hi-hat or a snare or something that just sounds out of place. But I guess, I think in the grand scheme of things, that's a relatively simple thing to fix. That's just very minor adjustments more than anything else. I was kind of hoping to hear what comes next, and I know that you've said that there's a Ran solo coming after that, but I was almost hoping for this like really gnarly cyberpunk, really hard-hitting bass that kind of starts slapping in straight after that. Please tell me that that's there, otherwise I'll cry.
I mean, I did tell you I was doing the track, and you were like, "Oh, you're doing the Halloween cover. That's the lamest shit in the universe." And then I got a little sad. I was like, "Well, you can't put my bass on it anymore. I can't make bass like you, man. You're Sub Neon. It's in the name."
Yeah. I mean, no. To be fair, I was like, Halloween is a little bit kind of overdone, but what you've done is really interesting and it's different. You know, I mean, normally you
He
hear
said
a
consolingly.
Halloween cover. Yeah, consolingly, absolutely. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you will hear the do 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 do, you know, the Halloween the melody with just a fucking techno kick drum over the top of it. But so what you've done is interesting, and I'm now regretting my decision. Are you happy now?
Well, no, I just feel guilty for mentioning it. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get some crazy bass going. I'm actually working on the second half of the track to the point where I didn't want to put it on the show because there's just big chunks of stuff missing. But Rand actually participated in this one more than guitars. He threw in some awesome saw bass and some pads and some other stuff that comes in the second half. The main thing I was having trouble with is the transition. And the track also goes from 5/4 to 4/4 because the Halloween theme is written in 5/4. But good luck writing a danceable track in 5/4. So I switch between signatures, and those transitions are giving me trouble too. So this was the part of the track that I was having the most trouble with at the moment. So I thought it was most relevant to show you guys. And your feedback has been invaluable as always.
Just one last piece of feedback, actually, from Russell before we do move on to the ending part of the show. What are your thoughts, Russell?
Yeah, like you know, like I kind of agree with like everyone else that you know, I mean the drums they sound fine, but yeah, like it's they are like a little bit kind of robotic. But I was going to make it like a different suggestion, like rather than more like a kind of production related suggestion. I was going to maybe give more of a compositional one. Something that I used to do when I was trying to get like better at like drum beats and stuff like that, like especially for like you know the kind of beats that you're kind of aiming for to make it sound more natural, is just see if you just slap on like a bunch of your favorite like records like with your favorite drummers, and just like really listen to the beats, and then see anytime you hear like a kind of like a beat on the record that you really like, um jump on the DAW and try and replicate it. You try to get it like as close as you can, because um, you know, obviously, like a big part of sounding like a natural drummer is to play like a natural drummer would, because obviously, like you know, a lot of the music that we do is, you know, is meant to sound mechanical. Because like you know, like a lot of kind of electronic music and dance music, like you know, that's just part of the style. But if you're trying to get a more kind of natural sound, then you want to be emulating, you know, real drummers rather than you know electronic tracks. So like that was my first bit of feedback. My second bit is it's not really a feedback so much as a suggestion, but like I would fucking love to see some of those drum fills. See if you synced up the like the church organ you've got in there to do like a little pedal, like a little kind of pedal tone like fill along with like the drum fill. I think that would sound fucking cool.
We could try that. That sounds like a really good idea. I just got to do it fast because Halloween's right around the corner.
Well, you know, better late than never, eh?
Mm-hmm. And now Mark's muted.
Mark, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Mark. You're muted.
Fucking hell. Yeah, we first time I've fucking done that on the podcast. I'll edit that.
It's all my fault. It's all my fault.
We are approaching the end now, at the end of the podcast. So this is the opportunity now to give yourself a shout out, whatever it is you've got coming up, where the audience can find you, the best place to go, etc. So I'll go around what I can see on my screen here. So Aisle 9 and Slim.
Yeah.
Anything coming up?
Just confiscated this dirty boy. Yeah. I mean, what is going on? I have an amazing release coming up with Sleepless Nights and Clintone, which is, you know, called Lost. Go and pre-save that now. The link is in my bio on Instagram. You'll find me absolutely everywhere. All9 Music. So that's coming up, and then I've got this release, I think, with Chris Kia, which you heard a bit earlier. So that's going to be going out at some point. I haven't got a date for that one yet. Then I am still writing music and got my own stuff coming out at some point when I write another load of stuff. I've just had 2 singles out recently. So Hot Copper Sun is doing really well, and I've got I See Stars on the compilation album that we've all done. So yeah, it's been quite busy on the music front, and then I'm busy producing and mixing and mastering for loads of people at the moment. So other people.
And I also want to say, Tim, you have a song on my EP. I'm going to plug myself here.
yeah,
On December the 10th. 8th rather, December the 8th.
Yeah,
get it right,
exactly.
Might help.
So that's another one.
So yeah. So look out for that
fantastic.
one. And it's a belter as well, Maya. And Neon Highway.
Yeah, so you can find me at Neon Highway Synth on Instagram, pretty much links everywhere from there. I don't have anything coming up at all. Just messing around in the DAW at the moment, trying to get some spark back after having a few months off. The only thing I can think of is that I'm going to hook up with Nash so early 2024. I've already sent a little bit of a demo for a new track we're thinking of, and I think it would work well with his sound. So hopefully we can collaborate on that.
Marvellous. Look forward to that. That'll be ace, man. Might as well go straight to Russell Nash.
All right, yeah, cool. I've actually got quite a lot of stuff coming up soon. I've got my Halloween track that you've heard a little snippet of. Hopefully will be coming out at some point in the next week. My evil arch nemesis also has a Halloween track coming out at some point in the next week. After that, I've got a single lined up to come out in November. It's like a kind of RoboCop themed single, and then yeah, like it's get quite a lot of stuff kind of lined up at the moment. But like I'll leave it at that.
And War Cry.
Oh yeah, and that too. I'll get that fucking guitar solo nailed. Man, like fucking, all my fellow guitarists, like in the chat, like can fucking back me up here, man. Like every time I hit record, I'll just fuck it up like 37 times in a row. Like I'll play it and then it'll sound not too bad, and then I'll have like another couple of playthroughs and it'll sound all right, and then I'll hit record and then I just fuck it up.
I've been there, man, many times.
But,
Isn't that what editing's for?
Yeah, but,
I just do a lot of takes and a lot of editing.
Yeah, maybe I might need to resort to that.
Ace, thanks, but Sub Neon, yourself, what's going on?
So, what's going on? Who knows? Everything you can find about me is at subneon.net. I've just released my most played single called Moonlight Skydrive, which came out within this last month. And in the time that Russell has not finished that track for Pashang, I finished 2 for his EP called The Exploit and The Evolution Chamber. I'm not bragging or anything. I do have a single that's with Al9 at the minute that is called Night Runner. He's not listened to it yet. I have listened to it, and I don't think it's quite ready for mastering yet. So I think he's just being too nice than actually replying.
He's just been super busy. But
and actually, Blood Dance, which I started on Monday, might actually be the next one because it's nearly there. So yeah, something I'm not that, or words close to that. And yeah, thanks very much.
Ace, buddy. I'll put a link in the. I'll check it. I'll put a link in the description. And the late arrival, Pashang.
Well, this Halloween season, I have a live show. So anyone out there watching this podcast who happens to live in South Korea with me, please join us at Communes, downtown Daegu, starting at 9 p.m. for Pashang's Vampire Rave After Party. I will be wearing vampire teeth and possibly stealing the guy liner thing from our friend Sub Neon, and definitely not wearing this mask because this mask is extremely uncomfortable. I do have a single coming out with Ran in the next few weeks, which would have been the demo that we played today if it weren't so chill, but this being a Halloween-themed show. It's called Coastline Paradox, and it's extremely chilled out, chill synth, with a ripping guitar solo at the end, and it actually works together very well. Other than that, I have a million things on my plate and absolutely no time to work on any of them, so we'll just have to see what happens next. There's always something going on, but I never know which bit of it's going to rise to the top first, so I'll keep you posted on Instagram, everybody.
The constant turmoil over creative. Thank you, everyone. Just before we go, a couple of things from me. So the next episode of the Producers Pub, so we're going to be recording this on the 19th of November, and it's going to be the Christmas special. So I'm going to dress up my beard with white shit and dress like Santa and stuff for that. So we've got 2 spaces available for that one. It was one originally, but Sub Neon had booked himself in twice. So we... We have 2 spaces available. So if you want to get involved with that, and do head over to insidethemixpodcast.podia.com and get involved. Alternatively, just send me a link on Instagram at Inside the Mix Podcast, and I can send you the link if you want to join. And also, I will put a link to this in the episode show notes, but I've got a song out on November the 10th, Let You Go, featuring Indigo. So chuck that a pre-save. I've been banging on about it on the podcast in tutorials and stuff for a while now. And chuck that a pre-save. It's coming out November the 10th. And then my EP, which I mentioned, does feature Tim, R9, comes out on December the 8th. Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure. Halloween special. My eyes are beginning to sting because of this black shit around them. So I need to go and wipe this off. I'm going to be blinking a lot. And Pashang eventually joined us. And before we go, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who has got involved in the chat on YouTube. It's been the busiest yet, which is amazing. And fantastic stuff. Gents, it's been a pleasure, and I will catch up with you all soon.